By the time the London 2012 Paralympics come about, Australian shooter Libby Kosmala will be 70 years old. She agreed to speak to Paralympic.org from her home in Australia. Libby, have you been officially selected yet for the Australian team?
I have been chosen. I have been named.
Excellent.
I heard that on Good Friday morning at 7:30 in the morning from my national coach.
Oh, fantastic. That's great news.
He gave me a phone call. This will be my 11th Paralympic that I'm actually participating in, but I went to the first one in 1968 as secretary to the Australian team.
So how did it feel when you got that call on Friday?
Oh, very exciting. I was very thrilled. And especially as I've been shooting very well this year, I'm quite delighted now. I'm looking forward to London. It's a few months away, but never mind. I'm looking forward to it very much. Because
you just missed out on a medal in Beijing, didn't you?
Yeah, by a mil. So close. It was so close. So, well, I'm shooting better than I was in Beijing now, so that's good. It's a good sign.
You say you're shooting better than you were in Beijing, but is the competition tougher than it was in Beijing, do you think?
Probably. The scores are going up all the time, but so is the equipment. You know, the rifles, and I've got a new rifle, FWB new air rifle, in the last 6 months. And I think not only the scores are going up, but also the equipment is getting better all the time, and the ammunition is getting better. It's first-class ammunition now.
You're a lot older than a lot of your other competitors, aren't you?
I'll be 70 years of age in London.
How is age an advantage for you in shooting?
Well, it's not a disadvantage, maybe you should say. It's not a disadvantage because it's mentally 95% mental and 5% physical. So that's why I say it's not a disadvantage. But advantage, I expect, is that I've got terrific experience. I like competition. I know all my competitors, and they're all very young, most of them. Because it's not a physical sport, a lot of physical compared with some of the sports, some shooters come from other sports like the hard basketballers or rowing. They come into shooting after they've finished the physical type sport and come into shooting because they still want to compete. And shooting's an ideal sport that you can go on for years.
So do you think sometimes the experience helps?
Definitely. And I think you must love competition because it's very, very mental more than physical. Although physically you've got to be fit. I mean, I do a lot of pushing and swimming and things to keep fit. So physically I'm very fit as well as mentally alert and mentally with it when you're actually shooting.
And tell me about your biggest rivals in London.
There's another girl in London that's been shooting, and she's from the English team. Her name is Deanne Coates. She's been to 6 or 7 Paralympics, so I know her very well, and she's shooting very well. So she'll be one of my strong competitors. And also the Korean team, they don't come to very many big competitions, but when they do, they usually shoot very well. So I'm not too sure what they're going to be like, how good they'll be. And then the little Veronica from Slovakia. She's a lovely little girl. Whenever she sees me, she comes to give me a hug and a kiss. I think she thinks I'm a bit like her mum in some ways because she's very young, but she's a very good little shooter. And I've watched her really advance and really move up the ranks from just a beginner right through. And that's been very interesting to watch someone like her shoot so well. And there's a lot of them that are quite, in their 20s and 40 years younger than me. But they all give me respect and treat me and are very, very nice to me. So it's, I don't feel like the grandmother of the team, although I'm called grandmother by some of the competitors, especially the Koreans. They always call me grandma. Hello, grandma.
So what is it about Deanna Coates and Veronica that you think makes them good shooters?
I think a lot of determination and the angst and keen to win. they've probably got the same determination and ambition like me, wanting to get there and win.
What about your teammate Natalie Smith? What's she like?
She's very new in the game. She's only been in a wheelchair less than 3 years through an accident up in the country in Australia. She's got a lot of talent, more talent, unbelievably amazing talent.
And do you think this is going to be your last London Games, or are you going to decide that later?
I think this will be my last Paralympic Games. I think so. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think it will be. I'm pretty sure it will be. I think I've got grandchildren myself, 2 grandchildren, 2 grandsons, and I think I'd like to start thinking about the family and my own interests and other interests.
Am I right in thinking that you won your last Paralympic medal in 1988? Yeah,
that's right. So I've been a few years without a medal. So been very close. I've been, in the finals in lots of events in the last few Paralympics, but just haven't got to the medal, haven't got to the first, second, or third placing. So we'll make that change here in London this year.
So you've been pulling out all the stops in London.
That's right. Yeah.
Having been to so many games, how has things changed over the years?
A great deal. Very different. I mean, initially we were shooting on targets, and targets in the air rifle, they were on strings. And so, after every shot, you brought the target back and took it out and put another target in. And now it's all electronic. It's you shoot on a black tape, and it comes up on the computer beside you. And also the numbers have increased. There were very few women shooting. In 1976, I don't recall more than perhaps 1 or 2 women other than myself. And when I won the event in small ball in 1976 against all men were just couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe that a woman could outshoot them.
What would you say are your kind of expectations of what London's going to be like?
I think there'll be very, very good games. I don't think that they haven't got and won't spend the amount of money that they did in China. I don't think London will do it that way, but I think they'll put on very, very warm, friendly, interesting games. And I think that like the English people, they do things very well. I think it will be very good.